Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. Winning cures everything. Hopefully everybody's having a good Monday. We are back to a somewhat regular schedule. I don't think we're going to be going live on, Friday? Because Friday will indeed be January 1st, New Year's Day. But we'll be here on Monday and Wednesday this week, and then after that, we'll be back to normal, I believe. The holidays fell on some days that we typically go live this year, but either way, we are glad everybody's here. We are glad that you guys hopefully have had a good Christmas, etc., etc. Chris, how was Christmas for you?
Christmas was fine.
Just fine?
Nothing too huge, nothing too big. We were pretty low-key this year.
I understand. We enjoyed just kind of sitting at the house. We didn't have to travel. My wife just headed down to my in-laws today. I will be joining on New Year's Day. So, yeah, I have the whole week, just myself and my teenage daughter, and she's got cheer practice and all sorts of other stuff going on. So we'll be here at home, and I will be tidying up the house, making sure everything looks nice, getting some projects done that I needed to get done that I have not had time for. So lots of things to knock out. The toddler had a fantastic Christmas. For all the people that are listening, and you know who you are, my family members, that decided to get these gigantic toys that we don't have room for, that make all this noise and all this kind of mess, I despise you, because he wants to play with everything all the time, and if you put something up, it becomes this gigantic disaster. It's whatever. Matt jumps in already. He said, "Where are the new glasses?" In the kitchen already. I'm not going to drink just yet because I got to work out after this because I've been doing other stuff, but I've been drinking out of them. So Matt, of course, one of our faithful followers, I guess you could say, has been, and he's one of our oldest friends, sent me some Alabama bourbon glasses. And I had no idea who they came from. Did I tell you about that, Chris?
No. I don't encourage this behavior, Matt, by the way.
I had no idea where they came from. My wife thought I had a secret girlfriend.
Yeah.
She was like, why didn't they put their name?
That's a great move, by the way, Matt. You should have put like a little what's it called? A swack when you put the little kiss mark on there?
Yeah.
Should have done that.
Oh, God, it was ridiculous. So, and she wasn't like mad. She wasn't like really thinking it. She just,
Yeah, my wife probably wouldn't care if she found out.
And she immediately was like, okay, this is weird. Like, what are we doing here? So it was a little strange, but yeah. So I got those, and I have been using them every day since we did our Wednesday show last week. Matt said, "Has a single woman watched this show?" I doubt it.
No, wait a minute, Gary. Wait a minute. You said one person was a lady.
Yeah, but are we sure that she's single?
Oh. I think he's asking, has a woman ever watched this show? I don't know that he said has a single woman. I get where
he meant
confusion.
Like has one person, like has one woman watched the show?
Anybody who's a female watched this show? Who identifies as a female?
Anyway. We've had plenty.
I don't know about the word plenty. I think he's using that wrong, but
either way, it is good to be back. Matt, I appreciate that. McKinnon jumps in, happy Monday. Denver Gator jumps in. Sup, guys? Hope you had a great Christmas. Go Gators. Hey, you Gators have some opt-outs, man.
Yeah, I need them to not screw this up for me because I already got a lot of bets in on Florida.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I already put my money in, which is dumb in this year.
I know. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. If you're betting before 24 hours before a game, you're an idiot. I'm that idiot, by the way. So yeah. I'm not calling you a name. I'm an AM if you're doing that.
There you go.
I did it, and I am.
Carlos jumps in, said, "What's up, guys?" And then Birdie is here. Good men, great holiday. Glad everyone's good. Yeah, it was good. It was a good holiday. Denver, of course, jumps in and said, "Plenty." Yeah, I might have misspoken there a little bit.
That's a gross exaggeration.
Yeah, I might not have said that correctly, but either way,
I mean, we might be big in like women's prisons. I could see that.
You never know.
They don't get a lot of TV time,
but they do have access to YouTube. So who knows?
There you go.
Who knows? All right. We have got a lot to talk about today. Before we get started, winningcureseverything.com is the website. You can find all the stuff that you need to find over there. We will be figuring out the podcast exclusives and whatnot going forward. But as of right now, just the live show, and we're doing good to get that in because, I mean, it's the holidays. We got a lot of stuff going on. So, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF is where you can find our college football gambling content. All of our bowl videos are posting as we speak, all that kind of stuff. We had to knock out some recording and whatnot earlier, and there are more videos going up. We've had, 6 of them go up today. Just a ton. We had the Music City Bowl that has been canceled now because Missouri had a rise in cases. Iowa, we thought was going to be the problem there. Iowa was not the problem. They had to shut down things last week. This week, it was Missouri shutting down. There's just not enough time to get their guys back in time for the game. So with that said, we'll see. I'm sure that we'll have other games go off the board, but there's no way of knowing which ones it will be. The playoff committee did come out and say that they will postpone playoff games if players cannot play for that, or not players, but if the team cannot compete at that time, then we just won't have the games on January 1st. So far,
what defines a team not competing? Playoff committee, have they given rules and guidelines to that?
It is under. I
know Sir Trevor Lawrence has already gotten the Roma, so he's not going to catch it.
Yeah,
but let's say Fields catches it. Are we going to make rules again for Ohio State?
No. It is your roster size. Like if you don't have enough scholarship players to play the game, then they're not going to do it. Like it's. I wouldn't expect Ohio State to come to the game with 40 scholarship players, right? So they will postpone.
Najee and Smith all hang out in a hot tub like my Browns and can't go. They're not going to postpone the game, right? Because Alabama's still got enough scholarship players.
I don't believe.
Man up.
I don't believe that will allow them to postpone the game.
I bet I disagree with that. Somebody's going to find a reason to postpone that game.
And it'd probably be the same thing for Clemson, for Ohio State,
for
whatever.
No. It's all 4 of them. Well, probably not Notre Dame, but all the rest, if Ian Books get hit by a truck or catch the Rona, they ain't postponing that game.
Now, you're right. You're right.
But the other 3, they're absolutely moving heaven and earth.
Probably. Michael Fritz jumps in already. Happy Monday, fellas. Felt like the Titans gave up last night. We'll get to that. We're going to do a recap.
We'll get to that. I got thoughts on that game.
Birdie said, "Are you still fading Ohio State, Chris? That line is not moving at all." And then
yes, sir.
And then it has to do with scholarships, doesn't it? Yes, it's scholarship players. If you are under 53 scholarship players, they will allow you to postpone the game.
Yeah.
So
somebody call Mike Leach and tell him he did it wrong, because he went with 48, then 49, then 48, and then 43, and 3 games in a row and fought like hell in all of them.
Yeah. And now they're in a bowl game, and we'll see how many actually play there. McKinnon said, which means if Fields gets it, he's getting locked in a small-ass room with 30 other teammates to ensure the game is postponed.
Yes.
Probably.
Well, they're just going to lie and say 30 people got it.
Probably.
I'm going to tell you this. Not a damn one of these playoff teams are testing for COVID right now. Because if you don't test, you can't pop. All right? It's what all these leagues did with marijuana for the last couple of years. It's just like, look, guys, this is a real bad look for the leagues. And so nobody's popping for pot, but everybody in the world's doing pot, and nobody cares if they do pot anymore. But we haven't changed our rules because we're old and curmudgeonly and don't like changing things. So we're just going to keep the rule and not test for it. Unless someone shows up with symptoms, nobody's getting tested.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right about that. Let's go ahead and start off with the first news topic here, and that would be Washington has released Dwayne Haskins. Now, he has not played much of this season anyway, but the reason that this is a gigantic deal is because he was their first-round quarterback last year. Like this is his second season, and they released him. They didn't trade him. They didn't, just keep him as a backup and try and work with him, anything like that. This guy messed up so much. The coaching staff did not trust him enough to keep him on the roster through the end of the season. That is unbelievable. I don't know that I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you even say?
I'm trying to think of what pick he was taken in, because it was
number 15.
I was about to say it wasn't like he was a top 2 or 3. Washington won a couple of games there. So here's the reports. Before before the strip club thing happened and all that stuff, or whatever it was, because technically strip clubs aren't allowed where he is, some type of party, but whatever it is. But before what just happened last week happened, okay, this guy was not the quarterback for a long period of time of this year. He wasn't the backup. He wasn't the third. He was healthy, scratched, inactive for 6, 7, 8 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
And the reason is he still, after being in this system every week for the entire year so far, didn't know the basics of the offense. He was not going home and trying at all to study to learn to be a football player. He didn't know basic calls. He didn't know basic reads. I mean, the very basic, I know this stuff because I follow a podcast that's based out of DC, and they cover a lot of local DC stuff. It's the only reason I know this. Okay. This is, I don't have inside information on anything. If you're local in DC, this information's out to you. ESPN doesn't cover this stuff. All right. I don't know why ESPN and Fox Sports and these other sporting groups, they don't really do a lot of journalistic information on their own. They just take little journal stories and report on them. I have no idea why none of them will ever dig down into this. I haven't heard a single big talking head bring any of this up ever. But this guy didn't know the plays. That's unforgivable. The last person that has fallen this far from grace because they just simply chose to not learn how to play football in the NFL was
Paxton Lynch.
Nope, Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, Jamarcus Russell. Well, yeah. Paxton
Lynch knew the plays. Paxton Lynch just wasn't good at football.
Yeah.
No, but he knew the plays. He knew the calls. He could go out there and run an offense. He just couldn't make throws. He couldn't read a defense. He couldn't make the audibles. He couldn't do the complexities. Jamarcus couldn't do run a base offense. Haskins could not run a base offense.
And both of them did not even try. Like
didn't try. This is something that there are quarterbacks that have come out and talked about this that I've listened to and read about in through the DC area that say this is something that this is not takes weeks of study. You can go home and in a day learn the terminology of just reading through and going through it. If you take 2 to 3 hours after practice and sit down with a quarterback coach or with the OC, you can learn it in one session. Like we're not trying to get them up to major complex things. We're not trying to turn them into Peyton Manning and Tom Brady out there just surgically, breaking down defenses.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get the very basis, and he wasn't doing that, which is why healthy scratch. You're not a part of this roster. You do not travel with the team. That guy is no more a part of the football team than a practice squad guy.
Which is insane.
Now, why they made that pick was Dan Snyder.
Snyder Birdie jumped in with that.
A local guy, and shame the hell on him. And Ron Rivera is the type of man that's tough enough to say, you sit in the corner and you cut checks.
Well, let's jump into the comments right quick. Well, before I do that, here's what Rivera said when he met with Haskins on Monday to inform him of the decision. I told him that I believe it benefits both parties that we go our separate ways. We want to thank him for his contributions these last 2 seasons and wish him well moving forward. Very simple stuff. Haskins wrote this in a tweet. He said, I take full responsibility for not meeting the standards of an NFL quarterback and will become a better man and player because of this experience. I mean, that's insane. Like it's.
And Rivera's right in the sense that this is beneficial for both parties. Why do you cut him with 1 game left to go? Like that's literally an embarrassment to the player. Yeah. That is, you are a cancer in this locker room, and I have to get you out of here. I have to cut my thumb off so I don't lose my arm. You're that bad.
Yeah.
And that's, but he's right in the sense that this is better for both of them, because having Haskins in the locker room every day and reports getting out of how bad he is just damning to his character and to his ability to come to work every day.
Yeah. Michael Fritsch said, Ron don't play around. Good for him. Birdie said, did you know Haskins went to high school with Snyder's son? Read that today. It makes sense why Snyder wanted him. Michael jumped back in. Rivera setting the tone for the rest of the locker room. I like it. It is an important thing to do.
You know how I feel. I very covered how I feel about Ron Rivera. Okay, yeah. I know he's not Bill Belichick. All right, I know he's not Andy Reid. I know he's not a top 3 or 4 coach in the league. He's never going to break down and out scheme teams like that. But I'd fight like hell for that man. I don't even know him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So McKinnon said, I mean, he's not Rivera's guy, and his issues made this an easy choice. Plus, the dude is not football smart, which would drive a dude like Rivera insane.
Yep.
Yeah, but the other side of this is he was a first-round quarterback last year.
Yeah,
right?
That's not his fault. That's not Rivera's fault.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is they could not even get like a 7th-round pick for this. They could get nothing.
Him and Cam Newton can go start a podcast next year about quarterbacks that'll never have a job in football again. Unless they want to go to the XFL and go hang out with The Rock, those 2 blokes ain't playing football in the NFL ever again the rest of their life.
Michael said, don't say the name Paxton Lynch, sensitive subject in Denver still. Yeah, 100%. Let's see. McKinnon said, how many Ohio State quarterbacks have failed at the next level now?
Quite a few.
There's been a few, but I mean, it's like that with a lot of schools. I mean, we're not going to say that that's on Ohio State. That's on these kids to figure out how to be an NFL player. Matt said playing in the NFL is a job. What does this say about these guys going to work a blue or white collar job? Joe Kim said, who's the quarterback next year? Might need insurance behind Alex Smith if they go that route.
Well, they're going to take a quarterback, but the good thing is there are 7 that are going to come out and probably go in the first round.
Latest mocks that I saw 2 of them today with them drafting Kyle Trask, which would be awesome.
That's fine. Listen, I'll tell you this. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if you took the other 6 that I talk about all the time, and I could probably name them off the top of my head if I want to go real quick, and just threw them in a shuffle machine and threw their names out in any order, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's fine. I don't know that any of them are going to turn into Drew Brees, but I don't know that any of them are going to be, Dwayne Haskins. So
yeah.
There you go.
The
ones that go to bad teams are really going to struggle. Okay. And the ones that go to good teams are going to succeed and look much better than the rest of them.
So Joe jumped in. He said, the football team should go after Stafford or Darnold. Alex is 1 hit away from a career ender.
They'll get a quarterback this offseason, whether it be through trade or whether it be through free agency or whether it be through the draft or both both.
They can do all kind of stuff. Like Ryan Fitzpatrick might be looking for a place to go. And
yes.
He may be old, but he's still doing his thing.
I would gladly put him in the locker room with a rookie quarterback.
You got that right. Ryan Johnson said, hey, guys, the Titans and Eagles disappointed me on the spread. You should have listened to me as far as the Eagles go because I had the Cowboys. But yeah, the Titans, we'll get to it.
We both lost money on Titans.
What a message from Rivera, though, said Birdie, toe the line or you're out. A first-round quarterback getting the Axe is huge. Fastest way to change
after
culture.
2 years. Really? Yeah. And how much game film did we see of him? Jay Gruden didn't want to start him last year, which is why Jay got fired. Jay got fired because he refused to start Dan Snyder's boy.
Yep. And Jay Gruden, for all the problems that he had, he was right on this.
Yes. No,
he was
he's
absolutely
100% right. Listen, Jay, if they don't blow things up in Jacksonville, I actually like that coaching staff in Jacksonville. I have no idea why. I think Doug Marrone's a pretty good coach, okay? I like Jay Gruden as an OC. Jay Gruden took the Bengals to multiple playoff games.
Yes.
Like Andy Dalton looked better under Jay Gruden's offense. A bunch of crappy quarterbacks looked pretty good in Washington under Jay Gruden.
I agree.
So I don't think Jay was the problem there. And I probably wouldn't make him a head coach because if you don't have the backbone to stand up to the team president and give your opinion and say, listen, this is bad for the team, then you can't be the head coach. I need somebody who's going to stand up for the team.
Birdie said, absolutely, Jay may get another chance as a head coach sooner rather than later.
He might, but yeah. I kind of hope that they keep that thing together in Jacksonville for a minute, just because I don't think that coaching staff is inept. I really don't.
Ryan said
players in it.
Ryan Johnson said Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to the Patriots.
Listen, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. Now they need a rookie. They need to get young and they need to hit on somebody. They need one of these 7.
Well, and they also need playmakers, man. Big time.
They need a lot. They need a lot. They need a lot.
McKinnon said, outside of Lawrence, I think all of the quarterback successes depends entirely upon the teams and cultures they're drafted into. Well, I think that's everybody.
I think that's everybody, and I don't think Lawrence is – if Lawrence went to the Jets, 100% I'm telling you he would have been a bust.
Yeah.
We would be writing stories about, wow, this guy just couldn't do it. That organization's so far away, a quarterback ain't fixing them.
Yeah, agreed. Birdie asked Tyrod, Fitz, there's interim options. Dalton, maybe. Kate Francis said, bring RG3 back as Alex Smith's backup. What a reunion that would be.
Well, that ain't going to happen.
No, I doubt it. Ryan, of course, jumping in. Hey, Chris, Big Ben was slinging it downfield on Sunday. I wouldn't say that. He was.
I think he made 2 passes downfield. Two, both of them for touchdowns. 2. That's not slinging it. He played like shit for one half.
Yeah.
Played really good for one half. Okay. I'm going to tell you. This is a fraudulent-ass team. They've been fraud all year long, and they got 12 wins.
Yeah, they
might have 13 wins.
They caught a Colts team that is also maybe a little fraudulent, that plays incredibly inconsistently.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Before we get into the NFL stuff, let's go over some bowl recaps and whatnot. We're not going to spend long on this, but the Myrtle Beach Bowl, App State whipped up on North Texas. The BYU UCF game we thought was going to be super interesting last Tuesday. Not at all.
Ooh, well, this is what happens when 30-year-old men push around 19-year-old kids.
Most certainly.
I mean, that's just what happened. The whole first half of that game was UCF couldn't do anything. Now, they scored like 20 points in the second half, but, man, too little, too late.
Yeah, I mean, BYU didn't even score in the fourth quarter, and they still won 49-23. I mean,
they still almost hung 50 on them.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's see, Tulane and Nevada. That was an interesting game. Jay Norvell, of course, takes Nevada to a 7-2.
I actually liked that game a lot.
It was fun.
I thought that was a fun game. Tulane has been just the weirdest ass team for me all year, but I enjoy them. I enjoy watching them when I don't have money on them.
Agreed. Nevada, of course, gets the win there, 38-27. Memphis over Florida Atlantic in the Montgomery Bowl. This is a one-time bowl game. You won't see it again. Memphis wins 25-10, and look, did you see the catch by Washington in this game?
Yeah,
I mean,
I watched a lot of this game because it's Memphis.
That was the most. So he mistimed his jump, was landing and reached around the defender to make like a one. It was absolutely incredible.
I mean, that's one of those things where it's luck, not skill, but you got to have hands, I guess, to be able to hold on to it.
Yeah, you're right about that. Louisiana Tech got absolutely shellacked. We called that one. Georgia Southern 38-3 in that game over La Tech. The New Mexico Bowl, Hawaii beat Houston 28-14. Houston had like 20-something dudes out due to academics.
Yeah, and so this was weird. This is the problem with we had to do these videos for SBR, and we got to do them like a week in advance before the game, and we don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's tough because
we're still doing all right, though. Have you kept up with the records?
Fine. No, we're still doing. No, I don't keep up with it. Once I give a pick out, I forget that I gave that pick out.
I am 12-6.
It's good for my sanity when I'm doing badly. So.
I'm 12-6 between.
Good.
So we give a total and
we give a total and a pick.
And so I'm 12-6 and you're 10-8 right now.
There you go. I'll take that.
We're doing all right. Buffalo beats Marshall 17-10 in the Camellia Bowl. That was about as boring as a football game as you can get.
We kind of knew that going into that game, right?
Well, so I thought that Buffalo would be able to score more, but
I saw Marshall score first, and I was DMing with a guy that listens sometimes, and we both were on Marshall, and I was excited. And I was like, all right, they made Buffalo punt. Or no, they intercepted the ball. First drive for Buffalo, drove down, scored. I was like, looking good, and it just Buffalo scored. And then Buffalo scored again. And Buffalo scored again. I was like, son of a bitch, what is going on here? And it was just that one was painful, not because it was unbearable to watch, but, seeing my boy Doc Holliday fall the way he did the last 3 games.
Oh, it's just rough. Cure Bowl, Liberty wins 37-34 over Coastal in overtime. That was one of the weirdest games that I believe I have ever seen.
This is the most insane football game.
And it was fun. My God, it was fun. Grayson McCall doing his thing. We both called the over here. We had the wrong side, but we got the over. And, man, it was just a little too – it was too little too late at the end. Coastal coming back from 12 down with, 10 minutes left in the game. It was
not
fun.
like any of the play calling when Coastal got into the red zone.
Oh, it was terrible.
I mean, they got, and I'm not just saying the red zone, when they got within, 10 yards, like first and goal, second and goal, whatever the situation was, I hated every play. And it wasn't because it just didn't work. I just hated them all. I just thought, man, I didn't like that play call at all.
So Liberty had 3 turnovers in this game to only 1 for Coastal, and still found a way to win it.
Well, they led the whole time. They didn't trail at all.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. McKinnon said, "I'm out, gents, on dad duty today. Have a good night in War Eagle." Hey, cheers to you. You got your coach. We talked about that last show. Yeah. But this game, I believe the Cure Bowl was probably the best bowl of the bunch,
so far. Oh, yeah. Most entertaining outside of the guy we wanted to win didn't win. That's okay.
Yeah, no, it happened.
I had a feeling Hugh Freeze was going to come into this game full of piss and vinegar and ready to fight.
I feel like you were right. I feel like you were right.
That was going to happen.
Georgia State shellacked Western Kentucky 39-21. We should have probably seen that coming. It felt like Western Kentucky had finally figured some stuff out. But
I thought they were going to be better.
It is what it is. And then the First Responder Bowl, Louisiana gets the win 31-24. They were up 24-7 in the third quarter, and yeah, that it is what it is. We called this. We knew this the whole time. We had the under hit. We hit on the side. We knew what was going on. Is what it is. Michael said, wasn't fun. I bet Coastal as well. Bertie said, the ULL collapse made me sad. I wanted that cover. Hey, you should have listened to us. I mean, it is what it is. Ravi D jumps in. More opt-outs for Florida's offense. OU is now the favorite, maybe. Who do you have straight up? I mean, I ain't betting it now.
I'm going to ride with Florida still. I still think they're a better football team.
Yeah.
I know they've lost a lot of guys, but now it might not be a blowout. But as long as we get close to a pick 'em, I think we're done. I think I'll still take Florida to win.
Hey, did you hear this about? Hey, by the way, so best bowl game? Are we so far? We're going with Cure Bowl.
Yeah, I'd probably say that, even though it was insanely frustrating to watch. If I didn't have money on it and I didn't love Coach Jamie, it would be easily the best bowl game. Not close.
Yeah, it just didn't go the way we wanted.
Personal feelings involved made it a bad bowl game for me, but it was the best to watch.
As far as entertainment value goes, yeah.
I don't know, man. I kind of like when Hawaii goes off on somebody. I really enjoy that. I don't know why. I just always like that.
Oh, I can get down with that.
That's it. Those are the only two.
So how many of these bowl games have you actually watched? Or how about this? How many have you watched from start to finish?
0. No, because the Coastal game, there was an NFL game on that I was watching a lot of too. None from start to finish.
I think that I have watched at least like a portion of every game so far. The only one that I have watched all the way through, I had the Memphis game on, and I watched UCF and BYU all the way through.
So I watched a lot of Memphis, a lot of UCF, BYU, a lot of Tulane, and I watched a lot of that Coastal game. The Coastal game had the problem of going against an NFL game that I actually cared about.
Yeah. No, that makes
the issue. And it turned out to be a great game that seemed to be the exact same ending, which is one team not wanting to score, not knowing should we score, should we just take the field goal, botching that whole debacle, and it's just weird. All weirdness all along. So,
yep, is what it is. And then I wanted to bring up Salty Dabo Swinney.
Okay.
This, with him ranking Ohio State number 11, he was the only coach that ranked Ohio State out of the top 10. This is kind of turning into a fun, like, can we call it a rivalry at this point? There's a lot of hate between these two.
Well, that might be at some point in time. It's a rivalry the way Tennessee and Alabama's a rivalry.
Yeah,
like,
Ohio
they
State
really
needs to
hate
win
each other, but one team hasn't beaten the other one.
Yeah, right. So they've only played 3 times in the last 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Which is still kind of a lot for 2 teams that are at the top of their leagues. But right. But this was, interesting. Very, very interesting.
Look, I'm okay with it. Dabo's crying and whining just drives me insane all the time.
But this isn't even whining. This
isn't crying and whining at all.
I like the heel turn.
He's calling out. Well, he's been heel the whole time. He's calling out the hypocrisy of the people who run college football. And here's the thing. Clemson is the one team that has the right to call this out, because while they have become this juggernaut, they are not a traditional blue blood.
That's true.
They are. I will tell you, I think they greatly benefit from being in a conference that is dead as hell. Okay. That they have been able to become what they become because everybody knows if you go to Clemson, the reason they can recruit with the Alabamas and the Ohio States is solely because players want to play for national titles and they know that they can moonwalk to the playoffs because that conference is dead as hell. Okay. That's why they recruit the way they recruit. I believe if they were in the SEC, they would be the likes of Georgia and Florida and Auburn and LSU, which is every couple of years make a real run and possibly win the national title, but be in the real conversation 2 to 3 years, and then every 2 to 3 years not be in that conversation.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
I can get down with that.
I might be wrong on that, but I think they benefit greatly. But the reason he's able to call out this hypocrisy and the flaws of it is because they really aren't a traditional blue blood that traditionally is going to get the protection and the backing of the cronies that run college football. Because I do believe that if Miami and Florida State ever became giants again, then the cronies who run, the mobsters that run college football would push things to their side more than they would push things to Clemson's side.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Damian jumps in. He said, "What's up?" Birdie, of course, trying to get you fired up, said, "Chris, factor in that slight letdown for Clemson and the bulletin board material. OHIO, buddy." And then he said, "Laugh my ass off. I'm about to get yelled at."
Yeah, well, that's fine. All I'm going to say is this. My wife is the smartest academic person I know. Okay. She's a very intelligent person. I don't say that to kiss her ass because she ain't ever fucking listening to this. Okay. That's just the truth. She comes from Ohio, and I'm going to tell you this. She's got to be the top, like, inkling of a percent of all the academic people that come from there. Anybody, that's the easiest state in the world. Our state has a song where everybody in the world knows how to spell it. Okay. Everybody in the world knows how to spell Mississippi. Ohio is easier to spell than that, and you all need help with it. I think that's insane to me. I think that's one of the dumbest things in the world, where one person says 2 letters and you need the other people to fill the other 2 letters in. Wow. I think it's amazing. I also think it's incredible that the best adjective that you have for your school is the letter "the." That is a damning indictment of the quality of education and creativity for your school. And not only do you attach it to your school, you also attach it to your biggest rivalry game. There's so many ways to create a rivalry and describe it. And you just have the word "the." My God, William Shakespeare would be rolling over in his grave right now.
Oh my God. I'm enjoying this.
The inept ability to use the English language is just so bad. This is coming from a dumbass bumpkin from Mississippi. I look down on you. Just know that.
Michael said, "Oh man, I love it." He said, "I love the rant." Yeah, Denver jumps in, OHIO. Birdie, of course, laughing. Ryan said, "I bet Chris had a crazy bachelor party during his wedding week." Yeah, I'd say so.
No, it was actually pretty tame. We went down to Canton. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you this. Went down to Canton. Went to the NFL Hall of Fame.
There you go.
Great place to go. Great place to go. As soon as they start allowing people back there, and Joe Thomas will be there, I will be spending an ridiculous amount of money that my wife doesn't know about. That's how I know she doesn't listen to this either, to go see Sir Joe Thomas play. And then 5 years after,
but be inducted, right?
Well, be inducted, yes. Yeah. And then 5 years after Thomas Brady goes in, I'll go watch him too.
So Damian
Beautiful
said,
place.
Damian said, "Is this punked? Where's Ashton Kutcher?" Like, no, man, this is just Chris's raw emotions. I just lost a light. Did you see that?
I was just about to say, well, no lighting changed from your view. It doesn't look any different. We just heard a crash.
That sounds good.
I thought that dinosaur of a dog might have killed over right there.
No. We're all good. We're all good. All right. I'm gonna turn that light off. I think we're all right. You see a little more shadow over here now, but either way, it doesn't really matter. I'm not attractive enough for it to make much of a difference. All right, so let's jump off of that. I do like a bit of the heel turn from Dabo. Typically, It's all about them, and instead this time, he votes Ohio State 11. Ryan Day is getting into it by talking about Clemson stealing signs on defense, and that's what makes and it's all completely legal, but that's what makes Brent Venables so good is he already knows what the next play is going to be because he knows what the signs, blah, 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 blah. This is a lot of fun, and I cannot wait for this matchup.
You think Venables will ever take a head coaching job?
If it's the right one, but it's going to have to be like a big, big job.
See, that's my problem is I don't know. This is a completely different conversation.
I think he would have taken Auburn.
I don't know that he will take a job like that because he don't want to deal with the boosters. He doesn't seem to want to deal with all the media stuff. If you're that guy, you take a Memphis job and say, listen, I'm going to come here and I'm going to do this job, but I don't want to talk to anybody. All right. I'm going to hire other people and you can talk to them.
He'd never take it.
Yeah.
It's not the right job. You have to pay him because he's going to end up making about what Steve Sarkisian is going to make. And Steve Sarkisian's contract at Alabama is going to be $3.5 million a year as an offensive coordinator.
I know it's about the money. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to go to one of these big schools that are going to pay you $5, $6, $7 million a year, you also have to do all this extra shit. And I don't know that he ever wants to do that, which I'll tell you this, I would not handle doing those things. I would do them and I would be honest, and then I would be fired for not what I did on the field, but shit I said on a radio call or telling a booster to piss off. Like that would be the problem is I think Brett was going to have some booster coming to his ear trying to tell him about the defense that they run at Auburn and how they need to switch to a 3-4. And he's going to tell that guy to go take a walk off the bridge, and then he's going to get a call and he's going to get a talking to. He's going to say, how you doing this shit?
Yeah, I can believe it.
That's the problem. I actually really respect him and like him a lot.
Oh, agreed.
A whole lot. I mean, a whole lot.
Ryan wants to know, are we going to talk NFL?
Yeah, let's get to it.
Ryan, as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and start that bad boy right now. NFL.
That was the whole purpose of this show was the NFL recap, and we did, 45 minutes of bullshit?
We only had one show last week, and we haven't put enough effort into winning cures everything, and we apologize for that. So,
we're here.
Let's see. You would do both of those things. Chris, are you short? No, he's not short. He's
I'm not tall. I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
I'm 5'10" on a good day. I'm always 5'10", I guess.
It is what it is. All right, let's do NFL Week 16 recap. Rolling through. So I'm looking at the ESPN scoreboard, and we'll roll through in order. On Christmas Day, the Saints put up 52 on the Vikings, and my God, Zimmer came out and said, this is the worst defensive team. Basically, I did a poor job this year. This is the worst defensive team I've ever coached. We can't do, whatever. We can't do anything. This was crazy.
So I watched all of this game, and you know what I thought? The defense got to the ball fine. Our buddy Scuzz, he's a Minnesota guy. Okay, that's where he's from, and I was like, man, you boys need guys that know how to tackle. They got to the ball, and they just not even a hard hit, put a shoulder on somebody to maybe knock them down or to maybe knock them out of bounds, to just nudge them a little.
Couldn't wrap up. Couldn't do anything.
They didn't even try, but they didn't even try to wrap up. I mean, their arms were tucked in, and they did this over and over again. I just thought, what are you doing?
It was weird.
This is going to be one of those situations. Mike Zimmer's going to murder somebody. He's literally going to murder them.
He may retire because of this game. I
don't know if he can fix that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane.
I do think this is one of those scenarios where, let's be real careful crowning Drew Brees back. Alvin Kamara went nutso in this game.
Yeah, he had 6
don't know
rushing
that
touchdowns.
Drew Brees is good at football still.
Have we had
real careful?
Have we had a running back go for 6 touchdowns in a game?
No, I thought the only person that ever hit 6 was Sayers and he's a receiver. So,
well, Gale Sayers was
Gale Sayers was running back. I don't know that Gale Sayers hit 6.
I don't know that he did.
He tied somebody for 6. I thought it was Sayers though.
It might be. Either way. Birdie asked, could it be that the Bears are freaking? Well, we'll get to the Bears. Did Kamara have 6 touchdowns? Yes. As a Broncos fan and SEC fan, it hurt my heart watching Judy struggle. The drops. I don't know what's going on there.
Gale Sayers did score 6 touchdowns in one game. That's it. But I don't know. Holy shit, he was a rookie when he did that? That can't be right.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Can't be right. I might be wrong on that.
heading into Saturday, December 26th, Bucks beat the Lions 47-7, and that was a beating. By the way, we have never, and I went back and looked over the last 4 years to see if we have ever had two completely opposite Sundays as far as gambling goes. Your gambling picks went 0-5 this weekend, and I went 4-1, and we have never had a chasm that big ever. Like, that's how you know that this sport is insane, because you watch way more NFL than I do, and I went 4-1 and you went 0-5, and that is nuts.
Yep.
So, let's see. Michael said Judy can't pout and then make drops like that. That dude better grow up. Yeah, he needs to improve big time.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
49ers 20, Cardinals 12. Kyler Murray has got an injury. He didn't play well in this game at all. The 49ers, I cannot figure this team out. I don't know. C.J. Beathard came in and threw 3 touchdowns and looked fantastic. Not 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry. What did he do? What did he do? Did I have that right? Yeah, he threw 3 touchdowns. Yeah, okay. I thought I remembered that right. But again, third-string quarterback comes in against the Cardinals. Color me shocked that Cliff Kingsbury couldn't figure this thing out.
Cliff has proven to be a really bad football coach right now. And here's the other thing with this. The 49ers, now you know how I feel about Kyle, okay?
Yeah.
If we had to draft all the coaches right now to build a franchise, he would be my first coach taken. Okay, he just would, right? Bill is too old. That's the only reason Bill and Andy don't get it. I don't think Andy's going to live that long, and Bill's going to quit or kill somebody. The 49ers, I don't think have lost, and I'm doing this off of memory, I don't think they've lost 2 games in a row this year.
That's pretty nuts.
They look really bad in the game, and the very next week.
They've lost 9 games, and they've only won 6.
Then they have to. The math wouldn't work out right if they didn't.
Yeah, they lost 2 straight to the Eagles and Dolphins. They lost 3 straight to the Seahawks, Packers, and Saints.
I was wrong on that.
They had lost 3 straight before this.
They look really bad a game, and they look good at the next game, and maybe they still lose those games. But they just don't look bad 2 games in a row.
Bertie said Cards played so uninspired, I would be thinking seriously about firing Kingsbury, because what will change next year if they're in that spot?
Nothing.
I don't think so either.
Nothing will change. The problem is you have kind of designed that offense completely around what Kingsbury does. That means you are handcuffed to who you hire because you have to hire an air raid guy.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Like that. The downside of building a team around the identity of a head coach is you're married to it, not that head coach necessarily, but to the style of play. So that means you have to go find the right head coach that runs that same style of play, or you have to deconstruct it and rebuild it again. And that's just not easy to do in the NFL.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, we're moving to Dolphins Raiders. I am here by myself. I got to go let this dog out because it's about to shit in the house. So go ahead and roll with Dolphins Raiders.
Go, Dolphins Raiders. Oh, yeah, this is the crazy, insane game. All right, this is the best thing for us to do with Gary leaving is I'm going to shit on Tua Tagovailoa right now. If Tua Tagovailoa didn't play for the Dolphins, a team that is that strongly have that strong of leadership in the locker room, have a quarterback that's behind him that should be in front of him, that is that good and that much of a professional, and then an offensive system and a defense that strong, we would be crushing Tua, and we would be writing him off. We wouldn't be treating him like Dwayne Haskins, but he would definitely be treated like Sam Darnold or some of these other guys that have been drafted and did not look good the rookie year at all. Okay. Tua has been a complete and utter disappointment failure. My guy, Brian Flores, who I love a lot, I think is hitching his wagon to the wrong horse, and I think it's going to hurt him badly. For him to keep saying Tua's our guy, Tua's going to be our starter going forward, and him having to struggle their way through games, and just the offense looks abysmal. And then we're going to go to, quote-unquote, Mariano Rivera, which is what Flores says all the time. Listen, you don't bring Mariano Rivera in the second half. You bring him in to get 3 outs, okay? And this is the problem with Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins team right now, all right? But they have a problem. They can be legit playoff teams. I'm talking about your boy.
Yep, talking about Tua, right?
They got to sit him. I don't understand. Football has always been, and is supposed to always be, all the people that hated on, I'm about to get into a different type of subject here, but all the people that said You can't bring Kaepernick back. It's got nothing to do with the protest. He's just not good at football. Football is a meritocracy. All those people need to look themselves in the mirror and say, is it really a meritocracy? Because right now we got definitive proof that one guy's not as good as the other. And this team is in a playoff spot. It's not like, well, we have nothing to win, so let's just put him out there and get him the reps and let him learn. No. They're really competing. And they're putting the worst guy out there. For what? For optics? I don't get it. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I am predisposed to hate things from Alabama. I'm trying to put my biases away. But I'm watching him play football. They got 45 yards in the first half. I don't understand that. And literally in one quarter, Fitzpatrick comes in. He's got 189 yards. How in the hell does that happen?
So I got a lot of guys in here talking about, Birdie said that's a huge dog and that would be a huge monster crap. Yeah. Ryan said Tua doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. Well,
I'm not going to go that far.
Let's just hold off a little bit because it's been 8 games.
I'm not saying the guy can't play. I'm saying there's no reason for him to be playing right now.
I agree with that because they are in a playoff race. They have a shot at a ton of wins here. Like, what are they? They're 10-5. They got a chance to go 11-5. They got a chance to win a playoff game. They got a chance to go deep in this thing. They got a good enough defense. Their special teams are great. Fitzpatrick, when he plays, is awesome. Like, that's awesome. So I don't understand. Like, there was a time when he was not playing all that well, so you could somewhat understand why they would try and work with Tua. Now, this was not supposed to be a playoff season. This was not supposed to be that. That's why they had Fitzpatrick on here to begin with. It was to mentor the rookie. That's the way this works. He is a wonderful locker room guy, and he's a fantastic mentor for other quarterbacks. That's the way it goes. He understands.
But he's also a competitor.
But he's certainly
absolutely a competitor.
Yes.
And he came out when he got benched for Tua. He came out and he told the media,
like, I want to play.
I don't know what I did wrong. Not a shot at Tua, but you can't take my job from me. I have not been the reason we lose these games.
Yeah.
And I'm out here leading this team. And every time he gets on the field, man, we talk about this all the time. Everybody in the locker room knows who the better quarterback is.
Yes.
When the wrong quarterback's playing, it's really hard to motivate that offensive line. Tua Tagovailoa is getting killed by sacks. And my question is he really that bad? Is he holding the football that long? Or is this offensive line just know we're playing the worst guy, and it's really hard for them to sacrifice their bodies on every damn play?
So he does a lot. So what Tua does is he dumps off a ton. He goes with the absolute safest throw. He did not do that at Alabama. Like, he knew that offense was his.
Ass open, Gary.
Oh, agreed.
This was the argument for Alabama quarterbacks coming out, because until Tua, there hasn't been an Alabama quarterback that's been successful at all, and Tua is not proven to be successful yet. Now, it's very early. It's not killing this kid yet. But
yeah, he's not losing games for him. I mean, he's only got 2 interceptions on the entire season. So he's doing okay as far as that, but he cannot get them down the field. And I wonder if part of that is still part of the injury. He doesn't feel comfortable enough throwing the football down the field. That's what I'm curious about. Now, Michael, of course, said, let's see Gary get mad. Let's see Gary try and defend him. Look, I'm not trying to, obviously, Fitzpatrick is a better quarterback right now. We're 8 games into the career of Tua Tagovailoa, and he's still coming off of an injury. This time last year, he was in a hospital bed.
Hang on, I get that. You got to stop with that, though. When he first came back, you could worry about the injury. We're 8 games into his career, and we have seen nothing from his injury flare up. We have not seen him be limited mobility-wise. We have not seen him be limited with throwing motion-wise.
Now, he did miss games.
Of that nature. He has taken hits. He's taken shots all day long.
He's also
missed not the injury.
He's also missed games with a thumb injury. So what do you want me to say? My God, I'm not defending him.
That's what I want you to say. I want you to say that this kid's good at dumping the ball off, which is what he did at Alabama. He dumped the ball off to crazy elite weapons, and those guys took him to house calls.
That's not true. It's just not.
No, you're right, because he threw a lot of deep balls to guys that were wide ass open, where he didn't have to fit a ball in a window ever in his life.
Your bias is showing just a touch. It
might be. But guess what? Show me when he's hit a window in the NFL. Show me when he's thrown a throw that won a game or was a big time play that was a guy covered. Because that's how guys are open in the NFL. They're open by inches. They're not open by feet, and they're not open by yards.
Agreed. Agreed. And I'm not arguing that point. Again, Fitzpatrick is the better quarterback right now. I don't know what Tua is going to turn into. I have no idea. Right now, it don't look good. I know that he's not getting his guys beat, but it is what it is. Bernie said, I'm with you, Gary. You're disappointed. It's not him.
It is Flores. Flores is the head coach. If Flores went in there and said, we're competing for a Super Bowl right now, we're fighting for a playoff spot right now, and I need to start the right guy. Flores is not coming out there saying Tua's our man because the owner told him to do that. The GM would be coming out and saying Tua's our man if he wanted to. Flores would not be doing that.
So Birdie said, prime example of a coach protecting his first rounder. Brilliant job. If Tua pans out, it's all Flores. You can't buy these reps through Chris. Or you can't buy these reps, though, Chris. At least Flores coaches to win. You can't buy these reps. 100%. Ryan said Fitzpatrick is a gunslinger, baby. Michael said Tua's a great dude. He's probably the only dude who you could sit and he would be fine with it and learn from it. I think that's a big part of this. Like, he's getting the reps. You feel like he is the more talented quarterback. He's not as old as Fitzpatrick. Like, obviously.
So Sunday, when the game starts Sunday, all right, and he can't move the offense, and whoever they're playing moves the offense and scores on them, and they get behind. Now they're behind in the game, and you now lose this game and you miss the playoffs because you tried to do this thing to getting these reps that you can't buy. And you know what you can't buy? You can't buy the value of playoff games. You can't buy that.
Agreed. Denver said, let's get Fitz in Denver to mentor my boy Locke.
No, you just need to move on from Locke. All right, we spent enough time on that. You just missed out on it.
Let's see. Fitzgerald throws 3 touchdowns, then throws 3 picks. He's a journeyman.
But that's the game. The fact that Tua's playing it safe, 0 quarterbacks out there that are actually worth their salt in the NFL have no interceptions. Every great quarterback right now, because that's the game of football, it is you got to risk it for the biscuit, baby. That's just part of it. Right now, Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions than he's ever thrown in his life. Russell Wilson has more interceptions than he's ever thrown in his life. Tom Brady, more interceptions than he ever. Aaron Rodgers, more interceptions than he's ever thrown in his life. Why? Because the game has changed, and taking safe passes don't work anymore. You have to get big chunks. You have to get big plays. You have to break the will of the defense, because if you let them sit in a box, they'll shut you down all day long.
It's the biggest part of this. Like, Miami would not be as good as they are without that defense. Period. No matter who the starting quarterback was.
But if they were to start to it and not bring Fitzpatrick in, they lose 2 or 3 of these games.
Oh, absolutely.
Now they're not anywhere close to the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree. Tyrone jumps in. Chris is telling the truth. Let's see. Can we move on from this? We'll find out in 2 years. Yes, let's move on. Good gracious. Y'all are all over this topic. Moving into Sunday, Colts Steelers. Steelers 28, Colts 24. I called this one because it made absolutely 0 sense. That's why I took the Steelers. Everybody I felt like was on the Colts, and the Steelers get it done in the second half. Birdie brought up an interesting point, something that I saw last night that I did not know was truthful or not. But Big Ben called all the plays in the second half. Like, apparently the offensive coordinator called all the plays in the first half, and Ben called his own plays in the second half, and they came back from 24-7 and won this ball game. What kind of an indictment is that on Randy Fiedner, the offensive coordinator?
That's a problem, and that's a situation that Mike's gonna have to address. I mean, you're the head coach, right?
Yes.
You gotta handle that.
I don't know. I don't even know what to make of it. You know, Juju ended up 9 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. That's, kind of a big deal for him after he stopped dancing on logos and all that kind of mess for his TikTok, whatever else. Jonathan Taylor, pretty big day, 18 carries, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns for Indianapolis. Phillip Rivers, not a bad day, I guess. 22 out of 35, 270 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. But Big Ben, I mean, big-time performance here, 34 out of 49, 342 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And there was no running game whatsoever from the Steelers, and it didn't matter. It was kind of surprising. It shouldn't be surprising. I'm still in that stage where I feel like you have to be able to run to win ball games, and that's just not the case in the NFL at all. It's really, really strange. But yeah, Steelers get the win there. All right, how about this? Titans-Packers. Well, that was a beatdown.
Yep.
That was it was fun to watch a game in the snow, but 19-0, and the game was over because you knew Tennessee couldn't come back from that deficit.
Did the Packers figure out how to play defense and stop the run, or did the Titans just not have the
mental
to run the football?
They did not. I think that the snow affected the Titans more than they thought it would. And I know that that's a ridiculous excuse and whatever, but it was cold and it was crazy. And when Aaron Rodgers and them came out and scored, 3 times fairly quickly in the, I mean, it was through the second quarter, but like they got down 19-0 and they tried to come back, but like their defense could not stop Green Bay whatsoever.
And now their defense hasn't stopped anybody. We thought their defense wasn't going to stop them the whole game. I mean, we both, in previewing this game, I thought we both took the over. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I know I took the over because I didn't think either one of these defenses would show up. So Aaron Rodgers going off on the Titans isn't anything impressive, or not that it's not impressive.
Well, it wasn't just Aaron Rodgers.
Unpredictable.
It was the fact that A.J. Dillon had 21 carries for 124 yards, and then Aaron Jones had 10 carries for 94 yards. I mean, 230 rushing yards for the Packers.
But that's what we talked about. We said both these teams are going to run the football. I know that Aaron can throw it, so I thought both these offenses would be unstoppable because I didn't think the Packers could stop the run. The Packers did stop the run.
Yeah.
You can't go up 2 touchdowns without getting the other team to go 3 and out. And how they get them to go 3 and out? Derrick Henry ran the ball 3 times for like 2.5 yards.
I mean, it was bad.
That's why Titans punted the first time. And then they punted the second time because Derrick Henry ran twice for like 1.5 yards. He was getting nothing. And we haven't seen that from the Packers defense all year long.
Mark jumps in and said Rodgers MVP. Ryan said Aaron Rodgers is unstoppable. Michael said Vrabel gave up. That was an absolute joke. And then he said, I hope they miss out on the playoffs because of this embarrassment. Bertie said, no, like I said, bad weather, protect your guys. Cold equals hamstring injuries. I doubt that. Ryan said, I thought Malcolm Butler, Adoree Jackson, and Desmond King were 3 elite corners. Well, they were at one point.
Well, Malcolm Butler didn't have a terrible game. I mean,
Adoree Jackson he just came back off injury. He was out for most of this season. So, Mark said Tennessee can't play from behind. That is 100% the truth. Well, Tannehill ain't the gunslinger.
That's the truth.
And
Tannehill, a lot of people praise Tannehill all the time. Tannehill is a good quarterback. Let's not get this wrong. He ain't a great quarterback.
Well, everybody forgets in the playoffs last year, Tannehill, he didn't even have a 100-yard passing game, did he?
He didn't do anything. He handed the ball to the monster.
Yeah.
But when the monsters get shut down, then you can't do anything.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right about that.
They showed on the breakdown after the game was over with last night. NBC did. The Packers had 9 guys in the box the entire game. They literally said Tannehill beat us.
Yeah. And
he couldn't do it.
Yeah. Michael said we can officially say that the Titans didn't want to risk their lives.
They did not.
Let's see. Denver jumps in. Most teams struggle in December on the frozen tundra. That's certainly part of it.
That is true, but I just had a feeling that if you have a beast like, maybe I'm putting too much into Henry, okay? Yeah. If you have a beast like Henry, I got to think that the other team for the Packers, the home team, doesn't want to tackle him in the cold, just like you don't want to tackle anybody else in the cold.
You would think so, but man, that was crazy. That was crazy. Falcons lose by 3 to the Chiefs, 17-14. That was kind of surprising. Chiefs had scored.
A team that just can't win a football game.
Agreed. Also, the Chiefs playing down to the level of competition again. It just happens over and over and over. And you know that they are the best team in football. And it is amazing to me that they can flip a switch when they want to.
Yes, they are the best. They're the best team. And Aaron Rodgers is probably going to get the MVP. Okay. And he probably deserves it, by the way. He ain't the best player in football.
No,
right? Patrick is the best player in football. I don't know why they dick around the way they do, but they just don't give a shit in half these games.
It's nuts.
They're the best team still.
Speaking of not giving a shit, the Jets and the Browns, the Jets don't give a shit about that first round pick or that first overall pick at all.
They had lost that pick already.
Well, agreed. But I mean, you still could have gotten the Jags to get a win or something.
They would have needed the Jags to either beat the Ravens this week, which they got smoked, or the Colts next week, who are fighting for a playoff spot. So I don't think that's happening. So go ahead and try to win.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But so the Browns without wide receivers.
Or linebackers. Or linebackers.
Or linebackers.
We did not have a starting linebacker or a starting wide receiver all year touch the field.
So Sam Darnold now has won 2 straight games.
Yes, sir.
Do we change our tune on him, or is he just not good?
It's hard. Whoever the next coach is going to have to sit down and evaluate what they think of him. I think this is a pretty quarterback deep draft. I also am of the opinion that I believe college football has gotten really good. And I think every year there's going to be 4 or 5 guys that you could draft. Maybe I'm wrong. Your Andrew Lucks, your Peyton Mannings, you're just guaranteed sure things. Everyone assumes it's going to be Trevor Lawrence is going to be one of those guys. They come around once a decade, but for the most part, pretty good quarterbacks come around all the time. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was just a guy, okay, that people liked his talent, but didn't know if, you know, it could translate to the NFL or whatever. And he never was on like a great team in college, but he put up big numbers. You know, it's just kind of one of those things where, you know, sometimes these guys are amazing. Sometimes they're not. I think Watson is an incredible quarterback. I also think Watson plays on a shit team. And so what he does doesn't matter.
That's a valid point. That is a valid point. Tell me about this. You don't have any wide receivers playing, and Baker Mayfield throws the ball 53 times, and they only run it 18, and 3 of those were quarterback scrambles.
So before yesterday, Kevin Stefanski was in the conversation, and justifiably so, for being coach of the year. After yesterday, he should not enter that conversation for a long time.
I just don't understand. Like, I get it because you go down 13-3 and all of a sudden, we got to throw to catch back up. But like, you're only down 10. Like,
yeah. You're down 10 with 3 quarters left to play. You're not down 10 with 4 minutes left to play.
I didn't understand.
Now, they weren't stopping the run. They were 100. So this is another damning indictment on Baker Mayfield. They were putting 9 guys in the box and saying Baker beat us.
Yeah.
And Baker couldn't beat them.
Well, I mean, again, at the same time, Baker also didn't have any wide receivers.
No, he didn't. But I mean, some of these tight ends he's been throwing to for the last 2 years. They've been there, and he had no problem hitting them the last couple of weeks and couldn't hit them. And you know, and there were drops as well. Hunt missed a ball that hit him in the face twice. That sucks. Those would have been 2 first downs. But I don't really think these things changed the game. They ran the football none, and they weren't successful at it. But I think it's one of those things where when you're not good at it, you just got to keep trying.
Yeah.
No, somebody asked, was Landry playing? No, Landry was not playing. Landry was in the hot tub.
Birdie said, Warren Sharp said it was brilliant. He said because the wide receivers were out throwing was the right call. And he said, Warren Sharp said that, not me.
I don't understand. So I agree a lot with Warren Sharp. This is a dude that is a math-based analytical guy, and he is right far more times than he is wrong. This guy knows this league better than most GMs, and I'm not going to say more than coaches, but better than some coaches. He is a sharp guy, no pun intended.
He's super smart.
I don't know that I agree with that. I don't.
I don't at all. Now, I will say this. So he threw, looking at the targets, 15 targets to Austin Hooper, 11 targets to Jamarcus Bradley.
Yeah,
this is the only
Bradley
time.
Did well.
Yeah. He did fine. 5 receptions for 60 yards. And he had not played in a game all year.
Yeah, in his life.
Kareem Hunt had 5 targets. Nick Chubb had 5 targets, caught all 5 of them. Harrison Bryant had 7. Like, you had one wide receiver that had the majority of the targets. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Chubb
was 5 for 5 for catching the football.
Yeah.
Like, he's your best player. Get him the ball. If you're not going to run it with him, get him into space and throw the football to him.
Yeah, give him more than 5 targets.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I'm saying.
Anyway.
It didn't make any sense to me. Like, the play calling didn't make a lot of –
Somebody said they had the best offensive line in football. Why not run the ball? They're 2 best – not 2 of the best. They're probably 2nd and 3rd best offensive linemen were out with COVID also.
Yeah. Bears 41, Jaguars 17. So Birdie mentioned this earlier up here about maybe the Bears have got this thing figured out. See if I can find it. It looks like that offense looks okay.
Jags.
I mean, it could definitely be that they've played the Jags. They are 8-7 right now. They lost a ton of games in a row. Now they have won 3 straight against the Texans, Vikings, and the Jags. They've got the Packers this weekend. As far as the standings go, I don't know what the standings are.
I got it. Boom.
What you got?
Give me a second. Packers are 12-3.
Yep. So this will be for the number 1 seed.
This will be for the number 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker. No, it won't. The Tampa's got 10 wins. This will be for the number 2 seed.
So Chicago really needs to.
They win this. They are the 2 seed, I believe, over the Rams. They would both be. Oh no! Right now the Rams are 9-7, 9-6. If the Rams win, they'll be the 2 seed, and Chicago will just stay that 3rd seed. They need for them to get to the 2 seed. They would need to win, and they would need the Rams to lose, which the Rams are going to play without Goff. So,
well, either way, so we're looking at the Cardinals, the Bears, and the Rams as wild card teams, right?
Yeah, probably. I think there's a world where Arizona gets in the wild card.
I mean, they've got 2 games up on everybody else. So
the Bears and the Cardinals are the exact same record, and I don't think they played each other this year.
That's what I'm saying. Is there are 7 teams from the NFC that are going to get in.
But only 3 wild card spots.
Right, and the wild cards.
3 wild card spots are going to be Tampa's already clinched one, so you've got the Rams at 9-6 now. Cardinals and Arizona are both 8-7. Only one of the Cardinals Cardinals or the Bears. Only one of the Cardinals or the Bears are getting in.
Okay, gotcha. So really, the Bears have to win, and the Cardinals. I think the Bears would have the tiebreaker.
I think the Bears have the tiebreaker, but I don't know. I don't think they played each other. Maybe they did, and I don't remember. This year's been totally effed up in my brain. But yeah, this is one of those games where I think if they win, they're in. But they're going to have to play the Packers, and
the Packers actually want to win.
Well, they have to win to get to maintain that first place. Now they have 12 wins, and they're in first right now. If they lose this and New Orleans beats them, I think New Orleans has a tiebreaker over them. They played once already this year, but I don't remember who won.
Yes, New Orleans. No. The Packers have the
If the Packers have the tiebreaker, then they don't have to win at all. And then also Seattle. I don't know that they played each other. And I don't know who has a tiebreaker in that scenario. They're both 1 game back.
The Packers beat the Saints 37-30 back in week 3.
Did they play Seattle by chance?
Let's see. Seahawks. Nope.
Yeah. So then I don't know the tiebreaker between if the Seattle wins and Green Bay loses, they would have the same record. I have no idea who would get that spot.
That is interesting.
What I do want, Cousin Sal brought this up on Bill Simmons in his show where they do guess the lines. He brought this up this week when they got into talking about this game. Because it's a valid thing. I've heard this my entire life that this is the best rivalry in football. Okay,
Packers and Bears.
Packers Bears. Yeah. And I don't disagree with it. I actually probably agree with it. I don't know that it's close. I think it's a pretty great rivalry. Yeah. The problem is every time I've watched this game, my entire life, I don't know that a great game stands out in my head. Either the Bears are really good and the Packers are struggling, rebuilding, or just an off night and they get their ass kicked, or the Packers are really good and the Bears are struggling or reeling, or for whatever reason they get their ass kicked. I don't know that I've watched a great game ever. There's been a couple of games where one team had a massive lead and the whole game was really boring and the other team came back and it was a huge collapse. But I don't know that those games are as fun to watch when you just have one team score. Basically, the Browns-Titans game from a couple of weeks ago. The final score tells you it's a good game, but really it was 2 halves of really bad football.
Yeah.
Cousin Sal's request was I don't care who wins or loses this game. I don't have a dog in this fight. I just want – if this is supposed to be the greatest rivalry in the NFL, can we get a good damn game one time?
It'd
can
be
we
nice.
Get a great game from start to finish?
I mean, I wish.
I don't know that's – listen.
So here's the best game, the one that stands out the most to me. I had to go look it up. 2011, the playoff game between the Bears and the Packers, when Jay Cutler went out with an injury, and they said that he couldn't come back.
Washed.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I remember that. The MJDs of the world were sitting on their ass at home.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have played through it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the 2010 NFC Championship
But when Jay goes out, that game's over. So that game was incredible. And then when did he go out? Like the third quarter? So we missed the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
So once he goes out, we know that game's no longer what it is.
Well, the crazy thing is that the Bears scored 14. Like all of their points they scored in the fourth quarter. Like they came back to make it a 21-14 game, but yeah, I mean it was so it was 14-0 at halftime, and then it was 14-7.
I'm sure we have seen great games from these two teams, and I just don't remember them off the top of my head. I'm sure they have happened, but every game that I can think back from, I mean, through the Favre years, through those great Brian Urlacher years with the Bears and stuff.
Yeah, that's what Birdie's saying.
Like they were all. I remember some of those things, but I remember when these two teams played one another, there was a lot of buildup and a lot of hype, and one team shows up and the other one doesn't.
Yeah,
it happens a lot.
Weird. Mark jumps in and said Steelers Ravens is the best rivalry, and as far as
that's probably the best rivalry from teams and from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah,
but this thing's been going on for 100 years, and the Ravens have been around for less than 20.
Yeah, I mean it's not much.
That's really it's hard for me to swallow a rival. There's a
before it was the Ravens and Steelers, it was the Browns and Steelers, and the Browns were not very good for a long time, but that was the hatred. Like that's what that was.
There's hatred in those. The competitive balance, Ravens Steelers, is probably the best. Well, I don't think it's probably. I think it is the best.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of it just hasn't been going on. There's an old comedy bit that I heard. I'm not making fun of. I'm gonna make fun of somebody's religion, but basically, a guy heard somebody talk to him about joining the Mormonhood, and he went and asked his dad. He was like, "Dad," he was like, "if your religion's been around so short, where I can ask my dad, did this happen?" And he say no because he was alive when it happened. Like it probably isn't real. Like that,
I understand.
I think that a rivalry's been around. If I'm older than the rivalry, okay, and I'm an old bastard, but 20 years is not a long time. I have no idea when the Ravens stole the Browns football team.
Let's move off of Bears-Jags since we didn't actually talk about the game. We just talked about the next game for the Bears. The Giants and the Ravens, 27-13. The Ravens get the win. They are 10-5 now. Looks like they are going to be in the playoffs. Everything looks good on that front. So. Not much to say there. The Giants are playing themselves out of the NFC East race, I think. But again, the NFC East is terrible, so who knows? We'll move on from there. Bengals-Texans 37-31. Cincy gets the win. And did you see the post-game comments from J.J. Watt?
I did.
I think it was dead on. He was 100% right.
I do. I like to shit on J.J. a lot. He's a guy that I find he does a lot of great things for humanity, more than I'll ever do in my life, but he seems to always do them in front of a camera. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's fine. Whatever, JJ. He likes talking about JJ. He's 100% right in this. I need Twitter and Facebook to come up with an algorithm to where if I've watched a video, I'm great that 9,000 people retweeted it. It needs to get 1 million retweets. I need it to recognize the fact that I clicked on it and listen to it with sound and everything from start to finish.
And I don't need to see it again.
And now I need it to not pop up in my feed again.
Yeah, I would like that.
If somebody can get in touch with one of the people, if you own Facebook or Twitter and you know how to work all those things, if you could tweak that for me, I'd be great. Everybody else is all from asking for money. They're all asking for a job. They're asking for stock shares and all stuff. Look, I just want you to tweak this shit.
Yeah.
That's all.
Simple enough. Damian said J.J. Watt for president, damn it.
He wouldn't get my vote.
JJ's speech was epic, said Denver Gator. Yeah, it was 100% right. I mean, everything about it was
right. 100% right, by the way. I appreciate the value of somebody just doing their job. Me and you get into this conversation a lot. I hate the motivation conversation. We talk about it all the time because you're right in bringing it up. You have to bring it up because these guys so historically don't care about certain games. And it drives me insane because I believe what JJ's saying. I've been saying it forever. If you're being paid to do a job, you do that damn job the best you can, regardless of if you want to, if it matters, if it won't be there anymore. I literally went to work at a restaurant that was closing down the next day. And all I was doing was fixing broken chairs and refinishing messed up tables and stuff like that. Had no value, wasn't trying to make the restaurant any money. I knew it wasn't going to be there 2 days from then. I was going to lose my job. I still went to work because the boss called and said, I need you to come in. I need these things done.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you were paying me to do them.
Yes.
That's it.
One of his biggest things was, like, there are people that care about this. Yeah. Like, do it for them. Do it for somebody. Like, just do the damn job. Show up every day and do your work. Like, they ain't asking you to do a whole lot in the NFL. Like, show up, watch game film, work out. Like, you're helping yourself at the same time. Like, it's just it drives me nuts. Broncos Chargers ended up being a pretty good ball game, if only because the Broncos were able to score late. But that was, whatever. Drew Lock threw 2 picks. That guy's the most frustrating. Like, I don't even know. I don't know.
So Drew Lock, I said before, not a good quarterback. Okay, doesn't need to be considered a quarterback.
Yeah,
in the NFL, he'd be a fantastic backup. A guy I want pushing. He's got enough swagger back there to let the guy who's got the head job know I'm here. And if you put me in this game, I am going to let it rip. All right.
Yeah.
And if I turn the ball over, I'm going to go sit back down. But if I don't and I hit, you're going to lose your damn job. And that's the kind of guy I want. I want always competition, always pushing. It's the best thing about Ryan Fitzpatrick right now is he didn't just take the clipboard and say, okay, and I'm going to mentor this guy. No, I want to still play, damn it. And you give me a chance to play, I'm going to take this job back, or I'm going to make you look like a fool for benching me. And so every time you go out there talking on a microphone, you've got to explain why I'm not starting. I'm going to be that damn good. I want that from my backup. But, man, I don't think he's got the talent, the just raw talent it takes to be an NFL quarterback, to be great, to be that next level good. Yeah. Your boy, who does have just insane raw talent, is this a head thing for Judy?
I think so.
Because this guy looks like he does not want to play football.
So all the pouting and whatnot, like I don't understand that. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't get that, man. I thought he was going to be the most polished guy. I picked CD over him in this year's draft of rookie receivers, strictly out of, I thought they were 1 and 1A, no difference at all. I hate Alabama, so I'm not picking the Alabama guy to be first. That was my reason, and it was honest. I could not have foreseen a year where he was going to be this bad as a rookie.
So he wasn't bad early. Like he started off okay.
But it's not just with the drops. He doesn't make big plays, Gary.
Oh, I know. And that's, I think, so when they had the quarterback switch and then they had a third stringer come in and they had all this kind of stuff, like I think he had trouble being able to connect with those guys.
Yep.
And when that happened, and now they've got Drew Lock back, and he ain't the most accurate guy in the world and all that kind of stuff. And I think that he gets insanely frustrated to the point where he plays himself out of games. Like his mindset gets him out of games. He doesn't just go out and do the job, and that's a problem. That's a big time problem. So
here's what I'm going to say about that. He needs to sit down at some point in time in the offseason. If these guys care about helping the younger guys get better, but right now they're competition to him, so I don't know that I would. But he needs to sit down with guys like D Hops. He needs to sit down with guys like Allen Robinson and let them know you can be an elite wide receiver but you have to be elite. You have to put in extra work. Just like I talked about with Tua. This ain't Alabama anymore. You're not going to be open by 3 yards, and your quarterback's not going to hit you on a dime every time.
Yeah.
And he's not going to have all day to throw the football. Sometimes he's going to have to heave that thing up because he's got more pressure than your quarterback has ever had, and you're going to have to come back to the ball. You're going to have to make a play.
Like you have to go out
to get hit in stride every time.
You have to go out and run your route to the best of your ability every single play.
Then you got to find the ball and go to it. You can't always expect it to be right where you are. There was a world, and this was probably 10 years ago, but there was a time where we and you used to talk all the time about I didn't want any quarterback ever from a blue chip school. I didn't want any of them because none of them ever pound out except for Peyton Manning. He was literally the only quarterback. All your quarterbacks out there were Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning and Drew Brees and these guys from the smaller tier schools that didn't have the best offensive line, the best receivers, the best defense, the best, running back and all this stuff, the best coaching. They didn't have all that. And so they knew how to work through problems.
Yeah.
And the game has changed so much that these guys are coming out of college so damn polished. You can come from middle of nowhere school and be great. You can come from the biggest school in the country and be great. so I think that stigma is gone, obviously. But this is now a problem with him. I haven't really seen it with receivers. Blue chip receivers are usually pretty bust proof.
KJ Hamler is playing significantly better than him. I mean,
Holy
just way
crap.
better. So,
but just look at the rookie class. I mean, Higgins is playing amazing in Cincinnati.
Oh yes.
I mean, he's playing amazing. Jefferson playing amazing. The best receiver in football this year.
Didn't we call that?
CeeDee Lamb. Now, CeeDee Lamb's got a lot of cover because he's playing with two other receivers that are pretty incredible. But he's playing amazing right now. It's weird that him and Ruggs are 5th, 6th.
Yeah, Ruggs has been hurt. Like it, so
that's right.
That's
right. And when you're a speed guy, when your speed goes, you're done. So you got to get 100% healthy.
Ryan Johnson asked on here, do you guys consider yourself professional handicappers?
Hell no.
Not in the slightest.
No, sir.
We have fun with this. Like
you pay nothing for this show. You will always pay nothing for this show because I don't get money for giving out picks.
Oh yeah. That's because
I'll never take money for giving out picks. I don't want your money.
We ain't
for
touts.
Giving out picks.
We ain't touts, and we don't like touts. And selling your picks is one thing. So I'm buddies with a couple of guys that do, but they lose just as much as I do. Like I mean, you cannot tell what's going to happen in these games. You can study your ass off all you want to, and it won't make any sense at all. The Colts and the Steelers was the perfect example. Yeah. I gave out the Steelers, and it was only because. My God, nobody expected it, right? Yeah. And that's how the NFL works.
That's literally the logic and reasoning you had.
Yes, that's it.
I do that all the time. I'm just making this pick because I think it's right. Yeah. But I don't have any inside information. We don't have any inside information. We barely have any outside information because most of these teams lie about so much shit, and the reporting's pretty bad. Some of these places. But no, I'm morally opposed to taking money for picks. It's something I'll never do. I don't want to be good at it. I don't care. I have a job. Okay. I want to do this. I'd love to make a living at doing this one day, but I want to do it because of the entertainment factor. I want to do this because this is fun and I enjoy hanging out with you guys.
And hopefully we can give you some good information along the way.
Oh yeah. We're going to try to give you the best information we can.
That's the thing, right? I think instead of selling picks, I think these guys should be selling like their models. Like, let people decide for themselves, but sell the model. Like
the biggest reason I don't like selling picks is all these guys make stats lie. They all can find a way to where, I'm 9-1 on Thursday nights when I pick the home team who's favored by double digits or more. Like, okay, all right. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that when this is a Saturday game and it's a 3-point spread. Like what good is your information now? That's my problem. I don't like the fact that they all manipulate numbers to say what they want to sell themselves. I would say I respect the hustle. I don't respect that hustle because I think it's lies, and I'm never going to lie to you. I'm just never going to do that.
Hey, Birdie jumped in about Jerry Jeudy. When was the last time Jeudy had a losing season, do you think? Guys don't know how to handle this.
That's a problem. That's why I used to like those littler quarterbacks from the smaller schools.
That are used to losing? Are used to adversity. How's that?
It's not that they're used to losing. I think they're used to the adversity. They know what the fight looks like. They know what the grind and if they ever get a taste of success, holy shit, man, it's like cocaine to them.
Oh yeah. Michael said Jeudy doesn't like Locke. I don't blame him, but you have to catch the ball. Damian said Drew Lock needs to go to the XFL. Let's see.
Drew Lock would be great at the XFL because that dude knows how to promote himself.
Yeah. Denver Gator said, wait till Sutton can be back on the field with Jeudy. A lot to ask of a rookie with a second-year quarterback. Birdie said, these young kids who have never had adversity do not know how to be pros. That's why they fail. Birdie said, great point about talking to D-Hop and others. Chris, great point. Yeah, I mean,
the problem with that is those guys are still competing. The guys I would probably tell them to right now is go find your Anquan Boldens. If somebody's retired who might help you because he's not a competition with you. Go pay that guy $20,000 for a week and say, come live with me and teach me to be a professional. Because when I think of like the ultimate grinder of all receivers, tough guy receivers, my entire life I saw, Bolden's the first name that came to my mind. He might not be the best guy, but he's the one that pops up there first all the time. There wasn't a receiver that was tougher. He didn't come in with all the accolades and the talent that everybody else did.
Always had a job.
But he worked and earned and outworked everybody on the team, and his quarterbacks loved him. He was a security blanket for every quarterback he played with because they trusted him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We got 3 more games to get through. Panthers, right. Washington was kind of boring, 20-13. Haskins, of course, struggles and gets cut afterwards, and it is what it is. So that game would have almost wrapped up the NFC East. But alas, we wait until the last week.
If they'd have won, it would have. If they would have won, it would have.
That would have put them to 7, but that
would have won it. That would have won it. 7-9. If the Washington football team gets 7-9, they'd have won it.
Yep, you're right. Eagles and Cowboys. Cowboys are now 6-9, so it comes down to Washington and Dallas. And amazingly, Dallas, with as poorly as they started the season, and with Dak going out and all that kind of mess, Dallas beats Washington this weekend. And
no. Dallas, I think, plays.
Oh yeah, no. That's right. Sorry,
Washington plays the Eagles. Dallas needs Washington wins. They're in.
Yep, they play the Giants. The Cowboys play the Giants. That's right.
Yeah, if Washington loses and the Cowboys win, Cowboys are in.
Yes. So
Giants win and Washington loses. I think the Giants are in.
Giants only have 5 wins.
Oh, then they would be no. Then
so they need Washington and the Cowboys to lose.
Well, they would have to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think the Giants would get. So it's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Mark asks, do you think Peterson keeps his job?
Yes, because the Eagles don't fire coaches very quickly like that.
Yeah. Let's see. And Ryan wants to know, can you guys talk about the Rams game because Jared Goff sucks? That's actually the next game on the docket here. So 20-9, and yeah, Jared Goff was pretty bad. 24 out of 43, 234 yards, 1 interception. He looked lost against that Seattle defense, and I don't know what to make of it. Like, I actually watched a large portion of this ball game. And I don't know why. It felt like an interesting game for whatever reason.
I like watching Russell Wilson, so I did watch a lot of it too. It was on the iPad. I had the Cowboys Eagles game on the big TV.
So, Darren asked, "Does Wentz get traded?" We've talked about this so many times. It's tough to trade that contract. Nobody wants him. Like, you can't trade somebody that nobody wants.
This is fanfic fodder. That's all this is. Just lazy sports writers have nothing to do in the offseason, and they got to pump out an article. So they're just going to put together how he would look and how it would work if he went to this team and then 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 to this team, because that's what a lot of guys do. And I'm not going to sit here and do that for you because I think that's lying. I don't think that's honest because I don't think there's anyone in the world that wants to trade for him.
Yeah, I agree.
So Goff.
Yep, Jared Goff.
Kind of the same situation, man. I don't think if Jared Goff got cut tomorrow, but you had to pay him his entire salary, is
nobody
anybody picking? It doesn't cost you an asset. You don't have to trade them anything, but you got to pick up his whole contract. Is any one of the 31 other teams picking that up?
No,
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so at all.
This is 2 weeks in a row. He's been bad and lost. Like, looks confused and like he doesn't understand what he's doing.
Yeah. I just don't understand. Like, we didn't get it when they paid him that, right?
No, we didn't understand that. No, we were against that. I was against the drafting of him. I was open about that.
Here's what they said. Yeah, I remember that. But he did play well. I mean, he got him to a Super Bowl. But again, that wasn't him. Like, it wasn't like he was a part of it, but it wasn't him. Like,
now, that offense moved, and so he's got to get credit. He's got to get some credit. Not the credit we give quarterbacks, but he still gets some credit for that offense moving the year they made it to the Super Bowl, even though when they got to the Super Bowl, they didn't really score a lot. That's okay. Mike, I don't think the things that he's bad at can be coached out of him. It's my same problem with Wentz, and it's why I said I wouldn't have drafted either of those guys when they got drafted.
Denver Gator said, "Go Gators, now I'm out." Like,
right.
Later on, Denver Gator. Hey, Ryan said Chris should be an NFL GM.
I would tell you that is my dream job. If I could just wiggle my nose and get a job, and you tell me I got 7 years, I don't care. You don't even have to pay me. I need to learn from mistakes. Okay, I need to be able to screw up contracts. I need to be able to make mistakes in drafting guys, learn from them, adapt, and maneuver the team around. I need to be able to take a loss and figure it out. So I can't do it in 2 or 3 years, which is what a lot of these GMs get. And that's a terrible, terrible thing, by the way.
Yes.
Give somebody 7 years. and let them make the mistakes that they're going to make. And if they don't make mistakes, they come in and they kill it. That's awesome. If you're John Lynch, holy shit. I don't know that guy's made a bad move yet. So,
yeah, he's been pretty remarkable.
So that is my dream job. I don't know that I'd be good at it, but I would put in the work and I would learn from my mistakes. And my fan base would hate me because I ain't ever re-signing a quarterback, and unless you're going to give me a hell of a deal or you're Patrick Mahomes, and I ain't ever re-signing a running back. So don't buy the damn jerseys.
So what is going on with Cam Akers?
That I don't know.
Like, because he was apparently injured in the loss to the Jets.
Yep.
And so I guess they're saying it was a high ankle sprain.
No, those things are tough to come back from, especially for running backs.
Yeah, and they said he's going to be out for like a couple of weeks. So I don't know if that's part of it, but like, man, does your offense really rely that much on Cam Akers? Like,
well, it does when Jared Goff's your quarterback.
I mean, that's crazy. That's
that's the
nuts.
truth, though, right?
Birdie said McVay was still sneaking up on teams that year. McVay overrated, in my opinion. League caught up with him with this roster at least.
Yeah, I think when McVay McVay was a force when he hit the ground as a head coach, and it took teams 2 years to figure him out. But I think he's still an elite level coach. He's still in that conversation that I'd start a franchise with.
Hey, Michael, by the way, said Herbert is the best professional quarterback in California. Let's just hold off on that until you see at least year 2, because this year nobody knew what to expect out of him.
No, that's fine. I'm willing to give him that right now. I mean, who the hell else is it? It ain't Goff, and it ain't, one of the 3 in San Francisco.
And yeah, I mean, all right, maybe.
I mean,
this
Jimmy
year.
Graham Jimmy Garoppolo in his prime, where he was putting up the best numbers that he did in San Francisco, was better than what Herbert was. But that was like year 5 of his career, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're comparing a guy's rookie year to Jimmy Garoppolo's best year, and that's a little unfair. I think I'll give it to him. I think he's right. I think he is the best professional quarterback in the league, and I don't know if the league's figuring him out because he doesn't play a specific style of football. He just plays really good football. He doesn't turn the ball over, but he still makes big throws. He can make play with his legs. Man, I think the guy's good.
Hey, Birdie,
real good.
Birdie said, so just a change in quarterback then, Chris? I can get behind that, but he's burning seasons here.
Who are we talking about, for Goff?
I guess he's talking about Goff.
Yeah, he's burning seasons. I can't help that. I'm not the GM. I don't get to make those decisions. But I would have never signed him to an extension. I never would have.
This isn't like you're not burning seasons here. Like, this is what you've got. Like, you're trying to make this work. No, you're
burning seasons in the sense of 2 years ago they went all in.
Yeah.
And so they just basically sold out draft capital and other things. All right. So this year they're playing with kind of a weird roster of stars and scrubs, guys that are just super, super highly paid, and guys that are making the league minimum are rookies. And that's the issue is you can't do anything with him because you can't cut him the way the contracts are written.
Yeah.
And no one's going to trade for him because of the way the contracts are written. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a big issue because he's got plenty of years left on that deal, and you can't just that dead cap hit is a mother. I mean, it's going to be
unless
harsh.
You're going to throw away a season. That's it. Yeah. You have to tell your fans, and you have to tell the 53 men that are going to be on that roster that year, sorry, guys, you're here because you're cheap, and we don't give a shit about this season.
Yeah.
Because we can't compete.
I mean, that's all you got.
Not a lot of teams have been successful doing that.
Dolphins did it, last year? And ended up winning like 4 of their last 5 games.
I'd say they ended up winning a lot of games that they shouldn't have won. I'd say that they were never expected to win.
Yeah, they were 5-11, and they closed the year strong. And this year,
it takes
of course,
a special coach to do that.
Yes.
I do like McVay. I'm not going to hate on McVay. I don't think that he's the wonder boy that everyone thought he was, which is why I thought it was insane that all of his assistant coaches were getting jobs. We've never seen that before in the history of coaching in our lives.
I mean, 9-6 with this roster is pretty good. I mean, pretty
true.
good.
That's fine. This defensive front's probably one of the best defensive fronts in the league, and he still has pretty good cornerbacks. The only place they're weak in is the linebacker position, and that's if you're going to be weak in the NFL today, that's probably where you want to be weak at. Yeah. So, okay, I don't know. I mean, it's still a really good team, and a really good job.
Let's see. Birdie said, love this show today. You're the best, boy. So much fun. Think on the Texans, Gary. Do we have an edge or not? I'll have to look at the Texans. I don't think that J.J. Watt's I don't think his speech is going to make any difference in that locker room right now. Like, I think this season
I would like to see it. I actually would like to see it. I like crapping on that guy, but I would like to see his teammates listen to him. I would say this, if they don't listen to him, that's kind of an indictment on him too, right?
A little bit. And
because he's supposed to be the leader in that locker room. This
cannot have been the only time that he has said that. Like, if he has been saying it in the locker room and it hasn't made a difference thus far, because the Texans have lost 4 straight. I mean, the Colts, Bears, Colts again, and the Bengals. I mean, you lose at home to the Bengals, and
that's pretty rough, man.
If you got a bunch of guys that don't care, then they're not just going to suddenly start caring. Like, if you are not prepared physically and mentally by week 17 of the season, it's not just going to change. Like, I think the Titans want this win because they need it to win the division. Like, I mean, I'd still probably bet the Titans this week. So, that's the way that I would go with it.
All I know is that Zach Taylor has played his way into keeping his damn job, and that makes me sick.
It's just ridiculous. All right, Michael said, I'm out, fellas. Thanks for the show. Still bright spot with everything going on. Gig 'em. Hey, we appreciate you guys watching. Hey, I think that's going to be all for us, too. We went an hour 30 today.
Yeah,
we
don't a normally, long one, but we love you guys.
We love you guys, and we haven't gotten to do this in a while. It was nice to just kind of sit and sift through our own thoughts for just a little while. So,
usually your first one after a long time goes pretty quickly. We made it last a while. So
you have got that right. All right. Wednesday, of course, our NFL pick show for week 17. We got a lot to get into. Mark wants to know, who do we like tonight? The Bills are a 7.5-point favorite, and I don't see any reason to not take the Bills.
Yeah, I don't either. I really hate that my Patriots are just dying at the end of the season, but I think Cam Newton's – I can't fathom Jarrett Stidham being this bad.
Hey, Darren McCardle said, will Cam stay with New England?
No, Cam will not have a job next year. Cam will be unemployed. Get your ass in line at the unemployment office. You're not going to have a job next year.
Pretty much.
Somebody on TV will hire him, though. And I think he'll be actually pretty good on TV. The dude's got a great personality.
Yes.
So I think he'll do really well on TV.
Michael said, give these guys 5 stars. And Birdie said, Pats, that line is not moving. Hey.
I would love for my Pats just to keep it close, just to cover. I don't even have any money on. I'm not even going to bet it. Just keep it close, just for my soul, for my dignity tonight.
It'd be nice.
My kids laugh at me when the Patriots get blown out. They never cared when the Browns got blown out, but this year,
it's been a rough year.
I got one daughter that's a smart ass, and I got to teach her karate because she's going to get her ass kicked when she gets older.
I love it. All right. Like Michael said, go give us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. Of course, if you missed the live show, you can always get the podcast, any of your favorite podcast locations. That certainly helps us out. Our podcast number's doing really, really well, and you guys are the reason for that. So keep sharing the show, keep telling your friends, keep giving it 5 stars, whatever it is. We would certainly appreciate that. Again, winningcureseverything.com. That's the spot. Everything you need to know, and all of our sports gambling content, our college football gambling content is over at sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. And you can, of course, search out the show on SBR Picks on YouTube. Very easy to find. Caden says, Bills, brother. And Gilmore is out. Oh, hell no. Go with the Bills. I didn't even realize Gilmore was out. So
I did know that. So
that's a problem. Stephon Diggs is going to have a big night. I'm in my fantasy football championship game this week, and I need Diggs to go for under 11 points, and it ain't happening.
He's probably not going to happen.
So I'm about to lose that joint. It is what it is. All right, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for jumping in the comments, for watching the show, for sharing it out, all that good stuff that you always do. We can't thank you enough. We will have one more show before the year changes, of course, and we are ready to get into 2021 with some winning ways. So you guys take care of yourself, take care of each other, and by God, hopefully we can cash some tickets. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a